Hi, my name's Summer Finlay. I am a Yorta Yorta woman, a PhD student, and I am video diarying my PhD experience. So originally I said I was going to do one a week. Then I realised that not much changes in a week, unfortunately, with the PhD. So I thought that might bore people, so I think I'll just do them as needed. So I've done a few. And for those that don't know, I'm working in Aboriginal health and I'm doing a PhD in Aboriginal health. So I currently work for an Aboriginal community-controlled health organisation. And I guess that's one of the things I wanted to talk about was over the last couple of weeks I've done a lot of work, probably more than I should have, with my organisation, and the PhD has suffered. And I was having a conversation with a friend about that who's also doing a PhD, and about the benefits that the other stuff we do that's not directly related to the PhD that will have both for the sector but also for me and my PhD. And I started to think about that and, considered that with the research that so many Aboriginal communities have had done on them, there's been very little direct benefit. And I think that, while this work that I'm doing with my organisation may not directly benefit me and my PhD, it certainly has indirect effects by building relationships, demonstrating to people, who I am, what I stand for. It demonstrates my level of commitment, and it shows people that I'm not just interested in Aboriginal community control because it's going to benefit me in the long run. It's not about me and my PhD alone. I think it's really important that there's this reciprocity that doesn't directly have to happen with your PhD. I mean, I know that when I work with Aboriginal communities, one of the biggest complaints they have is reciprocity. Now, if you look at the NH and MRC guidelines, that's in there, and yet when you ask people what that actually means, and this is researchers, and how they demonstrate it, it's not as simple as just handing back a report or, analysing some data that suits the researcher and giving those results to the community. In my head, reciprocity is actually about a mutually beneficial arrangement, and the researcher gets paid to do their work, usually, or they're studying, so, there's those benefits. They then get the acclaim when the research is done well, and they get peer review articles published, and then they use it to substantiate their experience when they go for other grants. And so there's all this flow-on effect for researchers, and mostly non-Aboriginal researchers seem to engage in our space, although there are more Aboriginal researchers like me. So for me, thinking about the work that you do externally, get an email from somebody I know saying, can you tell me about justice and health? And it has no direct benefit to me, but that's what I consider to be reciprocity, is giving back and working and engaging and supporting. So maybe I'm just justifying the fact that I haven't focused as much on the PhD lately as I should have. But I also do think that it'll have direct benefits to community, to my PhD, and in very indirect benefits as well. I guess the other thing I wanted to talk about was study design. So I know a lot about methods. Study designs and theories is not my strong suit. I know them a little bit. God, they annoy me. Seriously. They're so pedantic, and I'm just sitting here trying to find something that fits with what I'm aiming to do, and quite frankly, nothing fits. The idea that you can actually have a number of different study designs that applies to everything is ludicrous. I don't understand how that even works. Every single community, every single person, every single project is different, and the idea that you're going to find this perfect study design and apply the methodologies and the methods to the letter, nah. The only thing I like is participatory action research, because it's the Plan, Do, Study, Act, and, it's about engaging community and bringing them along, and nothing's quite, it's not owned by the researcher. It's not that I'm coming with this model and everything has to be done my way. And I think maybe that's another reason why Aboriginal people get quite frustrated with research, is because when it's so prescribed and when a study design has to be followed to the letter, that prioritises researchers' agendas over community input and also outcomes for that community that you're working with. And I think for me, I'm going to really, really struggle to actually engage in the proposal if I'm going to have a very prescribed, study design, and a methodology that is being thought up by someone else. Again, I can tell you methods. If we're talking about talking to community, there's surveys, there is semi-structured interviews, there's other sorts of questionnaires, which we can do focus groups, we can do a whole range of things. And I mean, that's the stuff that I know, that's the stuff that I like, and that's the stuff that's practical. What's going to work in the real world, not in this pretend world that researchers are often trying to create. And I know I'm technically a researcher, and I guess on some level I'm rejecting the research world because I see them as being very prescribed and very artificial in the approach to things, when I really, really want to do research that benefits real people in the real world, that will actually be generalisable rather than just in strict study conditions. So I'm probably going to have some challenges when I come to defend my research proposal. I might have some challenges with my supervisors. We shall see. Anyway, so that's my update. I'm going to sign out. I have to go to work. I'm only going for an hour though. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I shall post another one when I've got more to talk about. Anyway, bye.